And we are live. Welcome, everyone. This is Robbie One Kenobi, and once again, it is a live stream. Yes, it is on my channel. And today I'm joined, of course, by one of my fellow Horseman brothers, Mike, aka the Club of the Man, 1983. Mike, thank you as always for joining me.
Definitely, Robbie. I'm looking forward into talking about our favorite Raw moments. Despite the past few years, Raw being very inconsistent, there was still a lot that has good happened on Raw the past 25 years. So let's nail it and have a blast tonight.
Yep, like Mike said, in honor of the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw coming up next Monday, we are doing a video sharing our top 10 favorite Monday Night Raw moments, and this is just going to be a lot of fun. So without any further ado, let's kick it off old school with our top 10 Monday Night Raw, our top 10 favorite Monday Night Raw moments. All right, the top 10 favorite Monday Night Raw moments in history. Mike, as my guest, of course, why don't you start off with your list? What is number 10?
All right, so my list, I said before we got on, since again, a little bit of a late bloomer fan, most of my events are pretty recently because, these are events that made me, as a wrestling fan, seeing them for the first time, enjoy them more. But don't get me wrong, I'm sure some more events that you have shared, you always sharing Robbie, I've, come across, but I feel like if I would have seen them live, I would appreciate them more. But most of these, as I said before we got live, are pretty strong picks. So my number 10, sticking to the realism approach, happened just this past year. It was one of those moments where it's like the crowd was really like took over this moment, and just like what they were saying, I just could not believe they were really getting away with it and literally just put it on like I really was waiting for someone to start jumping over the barricade and rioting. And I'm talking about when Roman Reigns came out after WrestleMania 33 on the Raw after WrestleMania, to just the crowd reaction going from the thank you Taker chants to the Roman sucks and the FU Romans and whatnot. So much like that. Literally the whole building was saying, it wasn't just like one person. And Roman could not get anything out. Kept putting the microphone up, teasing it. And he knew, he had a big target on his back and was hated for, retiring the Undertaker pretty much, until he finally was able to get out the "this is my yard now." Literally, you couldn't say anything else for that segment. I just remember I was just amazed at how much the crowd took over that segment and just literally just bewildered Reigns again, to the point where I was expecting people to start just running out into the ring and start just beating the crap out of him. But I wouldn't want to see that happen, of course. But that's my number 10. Roman Reigns getting booed after WrestleMania 33.
That was one of the craziest starts to a Monday Night Raw I've ever seen. Emotional in the fact that the crowd was chanting "Thank you, Taker, thank you, Taker," and then as soon as Roman Reigns' music hit, they bombarded him with boos and the most unwelcoming of chants. It was crazy.
I do remember before even Reigns came out, some people started saying "you suck, Roman" or whatever heck it was. You still heard the "thank you take," but it started transitioning into the "Roman sucks" chants, and then all of a sudden here comes Reigns, and it just went nuts. I've seen people get booed out of the building, like Reigns being booed whenever he came in to the 2015 Royal Rumble match. But just as him just literally the stuff they were saying to him, I'm just like, dang, how are they getting away with all this,
And I'm just going to say this, because he's doing fine as the face Intercontinental Champion. That would have been the perfect time to turn him heel, because he had so much heel heat on him when he beat Taker that way. So they could have turned him heel there. That would have been the perfect time.
Right, but nope. He has to remain a babyface. But, Oh, well, again, he's doing all right as Intercontinental Champion right now. Just book him fine. Just book him good, and I have nothing bad to say about Roman.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right. So for my number 10 pick, this is a moment that doesn't really get talked about because of one of the performers involved, of course, with what they did a few years later. But this was a pretty underrated moment, and it was a really cool moment to see when it went down. And it's from 2001, and that's when Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H to win the tag team championships. Jericho and Benoit from the year 2000 to the early portions of 2001 had a really good feud. They were feuding over the Intercontinental Championship, and that feud ultimately culminated in their classic ladder match at Royal Rumble 2001. Now, of course, they're known for their rivalry, but I always thought it would be cool if one day they teamed up and went after the tag team championships. And how they came together as a team was at the Judgment Day pay-per-view, where Chris Benoit was feuding with Kurt Angle. They did that 2 out of 3 falls match for Kurt Angle's gold medals, where Benoit lost thanks to Edge and Christian. And around that same time, Edge and Christian were feuding with Chris Jericho, and Edge and Christian were in a match. It was a tag team turmoil match where the winners would get a shot at the tag team championships the next night on Raw. So Jericho, looking for a partner to get revenge on Edge and Christian, found the perfect partner in Chris Benoit. So they won tag team turmoil, and then they went up against the 2-man power trip, the heel Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H, who were who had Mr. McMahon not in their corner for this match, but Mr. McMahon was one of their allies. And Austin and Triple H as a team, they were great heels. And Jericho and Benoit were huge underdogs going into this match. And the match was quite memorable. This is, of course, the match where Triple H tore his quad and still finished the damn match after nearly crippling himself that way when he tore his quad. But still, just the crowd was hot. It was a really good story. The underdogs going up against this maniacal heel team that seemed unstoppable. I mean, Austin was the WWF champion, and he was one half of the tag team champions, and Triple H was the Intercontinental champion and was the other half of the tag team champions. So they practically had all the gold except for the women's championship. And Austin, Jericho and Benoit faced a huge challenge. And in the end, after Jericho got Triple H in the walls of Jericho on the announce table, and I forget if it was, I think it was Benoit who was trying to pin Austin, or I think it was Jericho who was trying to pin Austin, and Triple H grabbed a sledgehammer, tried to hit him with it. He missed. He nailed Austin. Jericho managed to get the 1, 2, 3. That crowd popped. That crowd, and I believe it was Sacramento, they popped for when Jericho and Benoit won. It was a feel-good moment. Again, it doesn't get talked about because of the whole Benoit tragedy, but still, great moment to go back and relive. And just the fact that it was Jericho and Benoit coming together, and they beat the seemingly unstoppable team. And Jericho and Benoit, undoubtedly 2 of the best technical wrestlers of their time. It was just a feel-good moment, and it's number 10 on my list.
Sound like a pretty good underdog story as well to establish those 2 as baby faces, it seemed, as well.
Yeah, and it only took place within the span of 2 nights, because like I said, the winners from Judgment Day went on the next night to fight for the tag team titles. And it would later progress into a feud between Austin, Jericho, and Benoit for the championship. Now, that's the match where Benoit suffered a broken neck at King of the Ring 2001. But still, it was a great story. And it was really cool to see Benoit and Jericho come together. And that their victory was a feel-good moment.
Nice. Very good pick, then. Very good.
Thank you. All right. So what do you have, Mike, coming in at number 9?
Number 9. What do I have here? Number 9 was from 2016. Now, it was an event. It took place on Raw in Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, though, I was not at this event, though. I was watching it live from home.
Yeah.
But it was one of the first times I could remember a title change happening, not at a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And I just remember the way it just was all built down, just the crowd reaction from Pittsburgh as well. It was one of those moments where I just really soaked it in. Again, like I said before, I never really experienced much of title changes outside of pay-per-views, maybe once the blue moon, but nothing as dramatic as this was. But I'm talking about when Sasha Banks won the Raw Women's Championship on the July 25th, 2016 episode of Raw. Just, I remember them announcing that match. I'm thinking, oh, there's no way there's going to be a title change. No way. It's not going to happen at all. It's just going to be some weird looking angle just to set up for SummerSlam. But that match, which was my women's match of the year for that year, I remember, just had Sasha Banks just having to overcome the odds of, Charlotte, but also Dana Brooke, who had been in Charlotte's corner as well, just constantly, helping Charlotte win the retaining championship with the dirty heel tactics and whatnot after Charlotte had pushed away Ric Flair. And then, the night before at Battleground when Sasha teamed up with Bayley when Bayley made her main roster debut, for one night until she went back down to NXT for another month. They defeated them. And then just the whole story being told there of Sasha trying to overcome the odds that, have been built up on Charlotte of how dominating she was as champion. And then leading to, if it kind of, to me, looking back at it, it kind of felt like watching the match between Ziggler and Miz at No Mercy for the Intercontinental Championship with Ziggler's career on the line. That was an awesome match as well. Should have been the main event of that show. But it kind of had that feel to it some ways, in my opinion, but of course not probably as big because I didn't have as higher expectations. But I just remember Charlotte towards the end of the match looking at Sasha dead in the eyes. You could tell she just pretty much said, "You would never beat me," and whatnot. Yes. And then just Sasha like turning the tables like that quickly after Dana got kicked out and having Charlotte to tap out to the bank statement, and I went nuts. I wasn't expecting a title change at all because I never really experienced one yet at that time, but when it happened, I'm just like, are you kidding me? And then the crowd reaction from Pittsburgh and the emotion from Sasha Banks as well. It was just one of my favorite moments, I'd say, in for watching like women's wrestling in general. Again, I wish I could have been there that night, but I had to give that one. Sasha Banks winning the women's title at the July 25th, 2016 episode of Raw in Pittsburgh.
That was a great women's match. And I remember when I found out it was happening on Raw, I'm like, really? We're not going to save this for SummerSlam? But I watched it. I was like, wow, man, that was a great women's match with a great ending. Sasha pulling a Eddie Guerrero to get Dana Brooke kicked out of the match. Ejected from ringside was great. And it told a great story. Sasha and Charlotte. So that's definitely a great moment. That was definitely one of my favorite moments of that Raw in Pittsburgh, the first Raw of the brand split, and that showed that you can do a great 3-hour show. Yeah, so it was, like I said, I was like, really, we're going to do this match now and not at SummerSlam? Like, something's not right. And then seeing Sasha win was like, wow. Like, I was happy for her because I love Sasha. She's awesome. So, yep, definitely a great moment.
Yes.
Number 9 on my list is from 2011, and arguably this was probably the best moment of Monday Night Raw of that year, and it is the famous pipe bomb by CM.
Oh, yes.
Yes, the pipe bomb to this day is still one of the best moments ever in Monday Night Raw history. It is still one of CM Punk's best promos. And what made it so special was it felt so real. Like, kudos to WWE for giving Punk the chance to air his grievances on air. But the way he did it, you question whether that was scripted, like whether it was supposed to happen or if he just went off the script,
Right. Yes.
What he was saying, talking about The Rock, talking about John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon, like everything he said is real. It's raw, and you could just feel his frustration. And I just remember seeing that, loving it, because I wanted Punk so badly to beat John Cena, because I was at that point where I was like, I'm tired of seeing Cena as the champion. Like, we need a new champion.
Yeah, getting title matches every pay-per-view.
Yeah, that stuff was great. I mean, the stuff he did, breaking the fourth wall, giving a shout out to Colt Cabana, like, it was so awesome. The stuff he said, and he's just sitting there on the stage airing his grievances, and it was just one of the most surreal things ever to see. Like I said, what made it so special was you didn't really know if it was part of the show or if he just went off script and said, fuck it, I want to do what I want. Like, just how he did it is a testament to Punk's greatness as a performer inside and outside of the ring. It's still to this day one of my favorite moments in Raw history and one of my favorite CM Punk moments, just because it's still talked about like almost 7 years later because of the impact that it made.
Definitely. And Cena's just like rolling around in the ring in pain, just like while the whole thing's going on too at the same time. It's like you can't get up, but like Punk's in there just like this verbally like beating up the product as well. It just cracked me up. But yes, definitely an awesome promo.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. And 2011, CM Punk was doing some great things that summer. And they should have let his Summer of Punk story run a little longer, but still the pipe bomb is like, you think CM Punk, you think the pipe bomb.
Oh, yes.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So we move on to number 8, Mike. What do you have on your list for number 8?
All right, so my number 8 is a little bit of an underrated pick, I'd say. I more so put this on this list, though, because I was actually there at Raw when it happened, and seeing this segment live, it gave me chills because of like the special effects it had involved in it. It took place on the March 16th, 2015 episode of Raw. I looked up to double check it today. It was the segment where Bray Wyatt was asking for a response from the Undertaker for his WrestleMania challenge. And I just remember being there live for that. And I expected, okay, maybe Taker will just appear and, just like accept the challenge. I know because we hadn't seen him since he lost to Lesnar at WrestleMania 30.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, and then it came up saying, "You will rest in peace," but then what really just like threw me off, but like I still loved it, was that lightning strike into Bray Wyatt's chair and it set it on fire. Like I was just like, remember, I was so like, taken away and just wowed by that moment. And just like, if I was home watching that, I thought it would have been neat to see still, but just seeing that live, just that special effect, I'm like, dang, like where did that come from pretty much?
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the only things I probably remember from that episode, other than also that's when Randy Orton officially turned on Seth Rollins and beat him down in that 2-on-1 handicap match. But yeah, I just remember that taking place. That was one of my favorite things I saw in person. I mean, Taker didn't come out. I was a little disappointed by that, but a year later, I remember I went to a Raw before Mania again. I think it was the Raw where Vince announced that Taker's career was on the line in a Hell in a Cell match against Sheamus. I like to get to see him live then, but that moment with Bray Wyatt, just like seeing that live in person, like it felt different than if you would have just seen it on TV at home.
Yep, definitely an awesome, definitely a great moment. What was it like actually to see the lightning in person?
I was like startled. I mean, I was like probably towards the front of like the second tire up. And it's just so it was like I got to see probably a little bit closer if I would have sit like further up in like the upper stands, but I just remember just seeing that. It just startled the heck out of me. It's like, well, it's not storming outside, it's the light bulbs didn't come through, but it was crazy seeing that, and the crowd went nuts for it as well. Like it was just like a startling moment, but it was like really epic to see in person, as I said.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yes.
Yeah. All right. And I like how we're mentioning what years these moments are from. I like that. So let's keep it going.
Oh yes, I have all the dates written down.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So coming in on at number 8 on my list is from I believe this is from 1997. It might be early 1998, but the moment coming in at number 8 is the DX State of the Union address. Now, I don't know if you've seen this one before, Mike. This was the early days of DX when it was just Shawn Michaels and Triple H, but back in the day, in 97, 98, DX were pretty damn controversial with a lot of the edgy stuff they were doing on Monday Night Raw because, of course, this was when WWE was transitioning, or WWF at the time was transitioning into the Attitude Era. And, I mean, DX were doing things like freaking giving Michael Cole a wedgie, beating him up in the shower. Shawn Michaels dropped his pants and was jumping with the crack of his ass showing, and they were holding up DX signs, and Triple H was like, X marks the spot, McMahon. X marks the spot. And it's like pissing off. There was even a moment where they were actually showing footage of the curtain call from Madison Square Garden. And Shawn Michaels is like, that's you, and that's Diesel, and that's Razor. You're a bad guy, right? I was a good guy. Like, and then they were like, does that piss you off, Vince? So like, they were just doing so much great stuff. And then in, like I said, either 97 or early 1998, they did this State of the Union address, which stemmed from USA Network sending the WWF a letter regarding like some of the raunchy material they were doing and whatnot. So DX decides to do the State of the Union address, and they go up to a podium and they read out loud what USA sent them. So Triple H takes the little document and he goes, from the hours of whatever to whatever, they say they'll only use certain words, but we will never use the words shit, fuck, goddamn, faggot, Jesus Christ, or any other racial or sexual slurs. Now, as it pertains to video, there will be also less dick references. And then Shawn Michaels, oh shit. And then Shawn Michaels, and then Triple H said, hey, watch your fucking mouth. And Shawn's like, oh, fuck me. And like Triple H's like, God damn it. Fuck. It was just like, they got away with it. And it was just priceless. And then my favorite moment, because I used to impersonate this when I was younger. Shawn Michaels goes, grabs the document, right? And he goes, while it's rumored that in your office, the favorite game is swallow the leader, I did not. I repeat, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. As a matter of fact, I was up all night. I love that. I used to do the cross chop just like how he would do it. It was priceless, man. That's why DX in the Attitude Era was great. But they almost got Raw kicked off the air a few times, as you can see. But that was great. And USA Network actually wrote them back and said they were impressed with how they poked fun at their guidelines or whatever. So yeah, that's definitely a favorite classic moment, definitely one of my favorites, because that's just classic DX right there, you know.
I feel like I may have seen like parts of that in like a top 10 or something like that, list something like that, but that does sound somewhat familiar. But yeah, I would probably want to go back and see like the full video of that, but that does sound pretty hysterical.
It's a short video, dude. You're not really missing much. It is a short video, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it was great.
All
right. So now we have, I believe, number 7. All right. So what is number 7 on your list, Mike?
My number 7. Okay. So The Rock has had a couple like famous returns at times. Like in 2011, he returned when he was announced as the host of WrestleMania.
Yes.
2016, he appeared on Raw right at the night of the Royal Rumble. But like 2011, I didn't really experience that. In 2016, I kind of expected it. The one return he had that was a big surprise to me was on the October 6th, 2014 episode of Raw. It was while Rusev was feuding with Big Show. It was their Hell in a Cell match, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he just came out of nowhere because I guess I think Big Show was like being held back in some sensitive therapy or whatever the heck it was because of what's been going on between him and Rusev. And then they were in Brooklyn that night. It was, and then I was expecting Big Show to come up, but when The Rock came out, I popped big time. I'm like, holy shit, what the hell is he doing here? I was shocked as hell. I remember Dan wasn't watching that night because he was doing homework, and I literally was like bombing him, saying, dude, get your ass up, run out and watch Raw. He said he literally got up and tripped over. I think he said he tripped over like a piece of paper or something on his way out to the JBL. He tripped Bradshaw pretty much, but I remember he said he lost his balance, but he just scrambled out there. And it was that same where he just told off Rusev and Lana pretty much, calling them a bunch of world-class international a-holes, whatever the heck he said. But again, The Rock, whenever he makes a return, even though the past couple he's done, he's somewhat, not played a good role, like at WrestleMania 32 or just being there for no reason at all. But that was, I think, one of my most favorite returns I can remember him having, just experiencing that, watching it when you wouldn't even expect it at all. So I got to give it to The Rock returning to confront Rusev on October 6, 2014.
Definitely. Yeah, that was a really cool moment. I didn't expect it, but that was a really cool moment. And yeah, The Rock's return in 2011, it's not on my list. It would definitely be an honorable mention because the way the crowd popped when he came out, because I did not expect him to be the host of WrestleMania that year. That was just
Justin Bieber was rumored to be the host, apparently.
Who?
Justin Bieber, I heard, was a rumored host, apparently.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. But that moment was quite electrifying. Like I said, it's not on my list, but it's a definite honorable mention. I mean, yeah, The Rock coming back in 2014 to confront Rusev. Did not expect that. Didn't see that coming, but that was great. And remember when Rock came to Raw in 2016, he
you look just fine, or whatever the heck he said.
Yeah, and Rusev's looking at him like, really, man? Like, really?
You really did that with my wife?
Yeah. Well, number 7 on my list, Mike, also is a moment involving The Rock, and it's from 1999, and it is, I believe, still to this day, the highest rated segment in Monday Night Raw history, and it is Rock, This Is Your Life.
Oh, it's probably a lot better than Bailey, This Is Your Life.
No, this one's definitely a lot better than Bailey, This Is Your Life. It's funny. Yeah, no. So this was around the time that The Rock and Mankind were teaming up. They were the Rock and Sock Connection, and they were a very unlikely odd couple tag team. Like The Rock, he got along in the ring with Mick Foley, but they were still like trying to work some things out. Like they were just like, you know, it was an odd couple pairing. So Mankind wanted to show his love and appreciation for The Rock, so he put together this little celebration called Rock, This Is Your Life. And in it, he basically brought out 3 important people from The Rock's life. And these were, like, when I first saw it, I thought these were all really people from Rock's life, but it was all actors and actresses cast. So he brings out Rock's home economics teacher, this old lady, Rock's football coach, and Rock's high school sweetheart. And basically, The Rock goes down memory lane with them, but then he just does what The Rock does best, and he just burns all of them on the mic. He burns the teacher for not having pancake mix because he wanted to make pancakes. He's like, pancake your old ass out of here. He talks about the coach taking him out of the big game or whatever it is, and Rock's talking about how he'd love to take the coach's whistle, turn that, shine it up, turn that sumbitch sideways and stick it straight up his candy ass. And Mankind's like, what the hell are you doing taking the Rock out of the game? And then he's talking about his high school sweetheart and poontang pie. Like, that shit was priceless. And then Mankind even went as far as giving The Rock presents, which included a Mr. Rocco. So obviously, you know, Mankind had Socko. He gave Rock a sock that was airbrushed with Rock's face on it, so it was called Rocco. He got Rock a Rock and Sock Connection jacket. And then he brought out his friend, the clown, Murple, or whatever her name is, with a birthday cake. And they proceeded to sing happy birthday to The Rock, and everyone in the crowd sang happy birthday to The Rock. And then came the moment that is my absolute favorite in this. So Mankind thinks it's Rock's birthday. And then this is something this is something we will all learn from The Rock, because this went down in September. But Rock's birthday's not in September. As a matter of fact,
The Rock's birthday is May 2nd, you stupid son of a...
Way off there. Nope, but definitely not September.
Yeah, way off. But that was great. And Mankind backed it up by saying it feels like somebody's birthday. But that was great. Once again, Rock killed it on the mic. His chemistry with Mick Foley was great. That's why Rock and Sock Connection is one of the best tag teams in WWF/WWE history. And this segment was great. You know, like, I don't know exactly how many numbers it did, but I mean, it was recognized as the highest rated segment of Monday Night Raw history, which is a lot of fun. Like, obviously a million times better than Bailey, This Is Your Life.
Still haven't watched it to this day.
I'll go to the grave not watching it. So yeah,
I will never watch that segment.
Yeah. All right. So we have number 6. What do you have, Mike, on your list?
All right, so my number 6. Now, this was something I did not see when it first happened, but going back in highlights and seeing it, it's something that I just remember something that I constantly would watch back a lot. I'm sure it's one of the best moments in Raw of all time. It happened on June 7th, 2010. You can probably tell already what it is. The debut of Nexus, despite the fact they got booked terribly, losing to John Cena at SummerSlam only because, as Wade Barrett claimed, they needed to have SummerSlam end on a happy ending, even though how many shows have really ended on happy endings these days. But yes, just that beatdown as well. But it wasn't just, them beating down just John Cena. They literally went after CM Punk because that was the night where Punk was wrestling in Cena, and that it was a fans' choice night or whatever the heck it was. And that's when Punk had just gotten shaved shaved bald by Rey Mysterio. He was wearing that mask over his head, and
Yeah.
Gallows was at ringside also. And they came in, they were attacking Gallows and Punk, and then they even went as far as attacking the announcers. Like it literally it was one of those things where it's like there's some other people here literally taking over the entire show, like kind of like how Undisputed Era is right now. NXT is taking over the entire show pretty much, ripping up the arena. Unfortunately, Daniel Bryan got fired for briefly because of this segment, but it was just an unreal beatdown. It's like something different that you wouldn't normally see, on a day-to-day basis, and keep for a special moment like that, where as John Cena said, they would go out and raise hell. Of course, if you remember in CM Punk's podcast, he was talking about how they hit that angle big time from him and Gallows. They had no idea what's going on, so it's let's just start beating people up, whatever. And then I think when Ryback was Skip Sheffield, he's like no guys, we're the beater uppers, you guys can't beat us up, pretty much. But yes, definitely a moment in history. And unfortunately, the Nexus again didn't really get booked as well as they should have. But that's still something that they can't take away from just the impact they left on their first night there. So that's why my number 6, the debut of Nexus.
That moment felt eerie and surreal because they destroyed the ring, they destroyed everybody by ringside. It was crazy, like you said, it felt like these outsiders coming in and invading and just taking over, a little similar to what Undisputed Era is doing, but still ripping apart the ring, destroying everything. That was insane. And the fact they all jumped John Cena, beat him down, that was crazy. That's the way you come in and make an impact. And yes, it is very unfortunate that the Nexus didn't get the big push they deserved, but still, that no one can take that moment away from them. They left fans buzzing after that went down.
Oh yes, definitely.
Definitely. All right, so my number 6 pick, Mike, is from 1997, and this, going back to Jericho and Benoit, this was another big dream team, a really cool team to see come together. And for number 6, my moment is when Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin won the WWF Tag Team Championships. It was in May of 1997, and Shawn and Stone Cold, they were pretty much Team Hell No before Team Hell No even existed. They didn't get along with each other. They had a common enemy, Bret Hart and the Hart Foundation. So one night on Raw, when Owen Hart and the British Bulldog were the tag team champions at the time, Bulldog and Owen were like, you know what? We're going to give you guys a shot at the tag team championships. In their mind thinking, these guys can't stand each other. They're going to kill each other. This is easy work for us. And it resulted in a main event, like I said, on a episode of Monday Night Raw in May, and it was a 12-minute match, but it was a great fast-paced match. It was great. I was little by little, I was becoming a fan of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Shawn Michaels had always been my favorite since I started watching wrestling, and to see them come together was really cool because that was a huge dream team. And even though they didn't get along, they worked just well enough for them to win the tag team championships from the Bulldog and Owen Hart. But in the end, the Hart Foundation jumped Shawn Michaels, and Stone Cold ended up leaving him behind because he wanted a piece of Bret Hart, who was on the ramp. So the beatdown afterwards was cool. The match was great, like I said, for being only 12 minutes. It was a great fast-paced match. And to me, growing up and seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels as a team was awesome because they're two of the all-time greats. And they didn't like each other, but they managed to work together to beat Owen and Bulldog, excuse me. And it was great. And their tag team championship reign lasted about a month and a half, but it was still, like I said, with Jericho and Benoit, it was really cool to see them come together because of the caliber of performers they are. And it was just, really cool Monday Night Raw moment. I think it's an underrated Monday Night Raw moment because a lot of people don't talk about that. When they think Stone Cold, and trust me, there are a ton of Stone Cold moments I could have put on here that I do like, whether it's Zamboni 316 or the beer truck or the first time he ever stunned Vince or stunning Sergeant Slaughter. Stone Cold has definitely had his fair share of classic Raw moments, but this is definitely a very underrated one. I think people think more of those moments I mentioned than this moment right here, but this was still cool to see Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels as a team. And who would think that you know, almost a year later, they main event WrestleMania for the championship.
Yeah, hopefully Stone Cold as well leaves another another good moment as well at Raw 25 as well.
Definitely.
Which I don't know if you've heard yet, but Dan and I are planning on possibly, we're going to be getting together to watch Raw 25 live at my place. We might actually do live live reactions throughout the whole show tonight. He plans on way over some little batch. We're going to crack them open whenever Stone Cold comes out. So
cool.
We're going to have some fun that night.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be off that night so I can watch the whole thing. But the thing is, like, you get it 3 hours before.
Oh, that's right. Crap, I forget. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, that I look forward to Raw 25. See, that's a Monday Night Raw show that deserves to be 3 hours because of the milestone.
Oh, exactly. Did you hear the rumors the other day about someone accidentally mistakenly wrote it was going to be a 5-hour show?
God, no, I would not have watched if it was 5 hours. No, that's pay-per-view. That's WrestleMania territory right there.
What is it? Is it they had like another 2-hour pre-show on before or something?
No.
Oh, please.
Yeah. All right. So now we're getting into our top 5 Monday Night Raw moments. Mike, why don't you kick us off? What's number 5 on your list?
All right. My number 5 doesn't have a specific date because it is a group of segments pretty much. And it's kind of like how we talked about before with CM Punk and the pipe bomb, how he verbally, abused the people in the WWE to put himself over to eventually transition into a babyface. People got behind him. Well, this person abused a certain superstar backstage so badly, and it's a superstar that unfortunately we all know, despite being a babyface, he's not well liked, but this made people fall in love with this man. So my number 5 is Braun Strowman's destructions on Monday Night Raw, pretty much. Yeah. Starting back as far as on like the second week after WrestleMania 33, where it's like they literally let Braun loose. Like he was showing a lot of good signs like before WrestleMania. Unfortunately, around WrestleMania, they did slow him down a little bit. Like he lost to Roman at Fastlane despite the matchup being good. He didn't have as good of a showing in the Honor the Giant. I was a little bit upset about that. I thought he should have won that. But him just beating up Reigns, where it's like a point where it's like you felt that okay, he's done all of his work, but he kept coming back. The night of "I'm not finished with you" was born. He kept beating down Reigns on the stretcher, and then he even went as far as just throwing him off the stage on the stretcher, and then even up as far as like tipping over the ambulance. I'm like, this man better not lose a match to Roman in the next couple of months, because if you do, you're making him look like a complete idiot by doing all of this. Yeah. But yeah, it just led to one of the best feuds of 2017 all year, which it really built up Braun Strowman to him also taking out other superstars as well, just like making it look very extreme through like announce tables. I think how he's talking about Brock Lesnar as well, and even last week on Raw, where he went as far as taking a grappling hook and wrapping around like the backstage, whatever it was, he wrapped it around backstage and pulling that down as well. Like literally, I'm like, you really cannot well, again, it's by the fact he lost to Brock at No Mercy, but you really cannot set like the stakes any higher for Braun Strowman and making him like a dominating looking force. Yeah, and as far and like literally when he was like just throwing just those big cases at Kane and Brock, I'm just like, okay, yeah, he's probably just picking up some big stuff and just chucking it at them. So when he goes over there to open up that other little case, it's probably going to take that and throw it at me. Opens it up, like what could he be possibly looking for? I saw a grappling hook. I'm thinking, what's he going to do that? But I look up, I'm like, no, you've got to be kidding me. It's like some of the most extreme moments I've seen on Raw. In this era, I'd say these days. So that's why my number 5 is not just the ambulance match, but all of Braun Strowman's destructions on Raw. Yeah, now Strowman, like Gene said in our Raw is Dead commentary a few months back, Strowman was the one thing you were always looking forward to seeing on Monday Night Raw because you never knew what he was gonna do. And right. WWE, I got to give it to him. Their creative team has booked him despite losing to Roman at Fastlane, despite losing to Brock when he should have won the championship at No Mercy. They've booked him well. Yeah, this thing with Kane is a little dull because, honestly, it should have been like Braun versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship after Miz led the Cavalry to crush him in a freaking,
garbage truck, which he freaking survived. You know, like
garbage truck Strowman running wild on you, brother.
Yeah. They have a huge star in Braun Strowman. Now, it would be great if he freaking would actually win the title at the Royal Rumble, but they're not going to give it to him because they're determined to make it Roman and Brock again. But still, Strowman's destructions, like especially when he freaking killed Roman in the ambulance, that's what he's about, and that's what made him so over in 2017. Like that's what made him as popular as he is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes.
All right. So number 5 on my list is one of my all-time favorite moments from the Attitude Era. It's from 1999, and it was the night that Mankind won the WWF Championship from The Rock. This is recognized by a lot of wrestling historians, fans, whatnot, as the moment where Raw turned the tide in the Monday Night War. You know, Mankind was a very unlikely candidate to be WWF champion. You know, when The Rock revealed he was in cahoots with the corporation and they helped him win the championship at Survivor Series, and Mankind and Rock went on to have a great feud. You know, Mankind was proving himself to be a main eventer. And, you know, Mankind wanted to feud with The Rock to get him ready for that mega match with Stone Cold at WrestleMania 15. And in the end, that helped Mankind himself. You know, Mankind helped prepare Rock for the main event, and Mankind himself helped establish himself as a main eventer. And, you know, like I said, they had a great feud. And January 4th, 1999, famous date where The Rock where Mankind got a shot to fight The Rock for the championship. It was a wild match. You know, it was your typical Attitude Era match with so many crazy run-ins and interference. You know, you had Ken Shamrock get involved, then DX got involved. The whole corporation and DX were brawling. And then when that glass shattered, that crowd popped like crazy. And out came Stone Cold Steve Austin. He grabbed the steel chair, cracked The Rock over the head with it. He put Mankind on The Rock. Crowd counted. Mankind won the WWF Championship. He was the most unlikely of you know, champions, but that crowd showered him with love, and just Mick Foley was a made man after that night. You know, like we all knew Mick Foley as the guy that took crazy risks. He put his body through so much pain and torture, but on that night he was beloved and he became champion. That's what makes that underdog story so great. That's why he's like the most unlikely champion, you know?
Yes, I definitely have seen that ending before with Stone Cold coming out and hitting Rock with the chair shot, but man, I gotta go back and watch that match.
It's not the best match, but just everything that happened in it, like could Mankind beat The Rock and all the interference that happened, and then Stone Cold coming out, like that was what the Attitude Era was all about. That unpredictability, that excitement, and you know, this was a previously taped show, and that's where WCW took advantage. You know, Tony Schiavone announced on Nitro, which was live, that Mick Foley was going to win the championship. And he even made this smug comment where he was like, huh, that's going to put some butts in the seats. Well, those butts turned on Raw. They went from Nitro to Raw to see the title change. And that's what ultimately helped the WWF turn the tide in the Monday Night War. From there, WWF, they beat WCW. That moment changed everything. And that was a huge moment for Mick Foley. So that's definitely one of my favorite moments in Monday Night Raw history. WCW tried to get it. They tried to get the upper hand with a little cheap shot like that, and the WWF ended up benefiting from it.
Wow, I didn't know that part though, but wow.
It was Bischoff who told Tony Schiavone to make that announcement. Like Schiavone made that announcement twice that night on Nitro. And the first time was when he did the whole, that'll put some butts in the seats.
That'll put the butts in the seats.
Yeah, that blew up in their face.
Oh, man.
Yep. So that's number 5 on my list. Mike, going into number 4, what you got?
My number 4 is actually one of my favorite brawls of all time that happened on Raw. There have been a couple. We've had I'm trying to think of a couple of honorable mentions. Well, I'll worry about that. But my favorite brawl, remember, of all time that happened on Monday Night Raw. You might think this person had like a better segment on Raw earlier in the year. Actually, this isn't in my list, but a quick honorable mention was the night after WrestleMania 31 where Brock Lesnar wreaked havoc on Raw, taking out Seth Rollins and like J&J Security and the cameraman because he wanted to get his rematch. He didn't win the title when Rollins cashed in. Right. But the one that was my absolute favorite, because literally it's like as soon as he came out, like everybody just like took cover because they were expecting like shit to go down again, just like it happened that night. But July 20th, 2015, the night after Battleground, when Taker returned in the title match, and then Taker was out there just addressing. Well, no, I think it was Heyman was out there addressing the Undertaker because Taker appeared at the beginning of that show to address his actions from the night before, and then Taker comes back out like the same way he did when he first returned at Battleground. And then Brock came out, and it's like, oh my gosh, like we're out of here pretty much. Like Cole and whoever else was on the commentary that night. And these two just went at it for like a good 10, 15 minutes. And like you could not pull them apart. And like Taker's like, I kill you or whatnot, whatever the heck he was. And they were like saying like some of this strong like verbal comments as well to each other as well. But I just remember it was just one of the most like out of control but like awesome brawls to watch. And it even went to commercial. And when they came back from commercial, they were still going at it backstage to a point where Brock Lesnar needed to be contained pretty much. But I just remember just like how crazy that brawl was. It's probably one of my favorites I can remember. And of course, since I knew I was going to be going to SummerSlam the following month, like it got me even more hyped for that match as well. So my number 4 is the Brock Lesnar Undertaker brawl from the July 20th, 2015 episode of Raw.
That was a wild brawl, man. That's how you build a feud with a brawl like that. That was insane. Like that was better than the whole Brock Lesnar Kane thing from like 2 weeks ago.
Yes, well, no. That's completely sucked. I'm sorry. That completely sucked.
Yep. But yeah, Taker and Brock's brawl. It went into commercial, and then the next thing you know, like wasn't it Triple H trying to get them separated, and Taker jumped them again?
Yeah, pretty much. Like literally the whole roster was out there trying to hold them both back, and they couldn't stop them.
Yeah, that was great. Like that was great.
Oh boy.
Stuff. All right. So number 4 on my list comes from 1987, and this is a moment that I keep going. I go back and forth. I go back and watch again and again and again, and it never gets old. It never gets old. I played the sound clip before in a couple of our live streams, including the WrestleMania performers video we did with Gene, where Mike, you impersonated this guy. He's like, I should be number 1. And I think you know who I'm talking about. But number 4 is Bret Hart's post-steel cage match rant.
Oh, yes.
So this was on the go-home show to WrestleMania 13 in March of 1997. It was Psycho Sid, who at the time was the WWF champion, versus Bret Hart in a steel cage match. This was a unique steel cage match because whoever walked out of as the champion that night was going to go into their respective match at Mania as the WWF champion. So Bret Hart had the submission match with Austin, and the Undertaker had a shot at Sid for the championship. And both Austin and Taker got involved in this cage match. Austin because he wanted the match to be for the title. Taker because he wanted to preserve his shot at the title. Mm-hmm. And, it got wild to the point where Bret was about to leave the cage, win the title. Taker slammed the door shut on Bret. Sid escaped, and then they went to a commercial after the match. And this was the main event. Keep that in mind. And then Bret Hart's in the ring as the cage is being dismantled. Vince McMahon tries to get a word with Bret Hart. He tells Bret that Bret has to be seemingly frustrated and understandably frustrated, and then it happens. Bret knocks Vince on his ass and delivers this.
Frustrated into the goddamn word for it. This is bullshit.
I love that. And it happened live. They didn't censor that when it happened live. And why I love that moment so much is because when I heard Bret Hart say bullshit, I was like, it's like, you can't say that on TV, you know, like, and this was a little bit of them transitioning into the Attitude Era. Bret Hart just cut a shoot in a way. He was so pissed off. He was so frustrated. He accused Vince of screwing him. He accused Gorilla Monsoon of screwing him. Like, he just went on a tirade, you know, and JR was apologizing for all the profanity. And this was because when Bret returned in 1996, he saw so much injustice. He felt like he kept getting screwed out of the WWE Championship and everything. And this was leading to him eventually turning heel at WrestleMania 13. It was great. When I saw it, I was like, I couldn't believe it. You know, I couldn't believe Bret was saying all this stuff. He was getting away with it. It was on live television. It's just great, you know. And then Austin comes out and he Bret starts, you know, calling him out. And then this is so funny. Sid comes out. I don't remember why Sid came out. And then, you know, Bret's saying, like, I should be the champion. You know it. You know it. You know it. And then Sid, who's had a history of flubbing his lines, goes and says, I don't know shit, crybaby. So it was a crazy moment, but that showed Bret Hart was great on the mic. And, like, it was, again, it felt like, it didn't feel like it was part of the show. It felt off the script, off the record. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Like it like with the Punk pipe bomb and everything. And that's what made it great. Just Bret Hart saying bullshit. He said, you know, like, he even told the fans, if you don't like it, tough shit. Like, that was great, man. I love that rant. Like, I go back and just him knocking Vince on his ass, him saying bullshit. And I've used this clip before in a few of our live streams because it's so classic, you know. That's one of my favorite moments.
Nice.
All right. 3 left on our list. Mike, what is number 3 for you?
All right. My number 3. I cannot believe it's almost been a year since this happened. It was probably about a 20-minute segment, but it was well worth it.
Yeah.
I remember also I was out of town this day. I wasn't able to see this like live, so I had to go back and watch it. But my number 3 is the Festival of Friendship.
Oh, I was thinking something else, but yeah, the Festival of Friendship.
What were you thinking?
Daniel Bryan. Retirement.
Oh, retirement. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But actually, I did not make my list. Honorable mention. But no, the Festival of Friendship. This was hysterical. Like, you know, Jericho comes out. He's like all into it, and Owens is coming out, and he's just like, Chris, what the hell are you doing? Pretty much, like, what is all of this? Like, they came down being escorted by all those ladies, get to the ring. Jericho revealing like the Guggenheim or whatever heck the sculpture was that he got him saying the Arch of Jericho sculpted in, man. He's like, Chris, what is this? And then he goes over to saying, I got this for you too. Also, it's the creation of Kevin. That poster, which I still cannot believe it was briefly on WWE Shop for like $10 to get like a replica of it. And I remember Owens was just like, Chris, you want me to hang this in this house? Like, I have kids, you know, like, you're not even wearing pants. And then they have Friendship the Magician there pulling off a magic trick. But then Owens didn't like it, so Jericho put him on the list for that. And then, of course, since he had recently gotten Owens into that match with Goldberg, they bring back Gilbert for them just to beat down pretty much.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think if there was a couple, might have been like 1 or 2 things that happened like in between before it got to the end, where it's like the more heartfelt moment where it's like, you know, like Jericho just like tells like, you know, Owens like how much, you know, he means to him, how much he's enjoyed working with him the past year, and like, you know, how he's definitely one of his best friends and whatnot. And then Owens, who again has had this like look like, I can't believe I'm seeing all this look on his face the whole time, and he's just like saying, you know, this is all great, Chris. I appreciate it. I got you a gift as well. So like, you know, Jericho's like taken in by it. And then he opens it up and it's like, it's a new list. It's perfect. But it's like, wait, how come my name's on it? And then we lift it up and see the list of KO. And it's like, uh-oh. And then KO just gets in there and just beats him down pretty much just like, you know, like breaks everything. He shoves Jericho into the TV screen and whatnot. It was like one of those like, roller coaster like moments, like, going up and down. It's like, oh, this is awesome. And it's like, oh, something bad about to go down. This is not good. But then back up again, the excitement and whatnot is go back and forth. And just like the heartfelt, message that Jericho had to Owens before, Owens gave him the gift to the beatdown. Is like you couldn't have asked for a better way to like, split these two up. But that was just extremely entertaining. It's like, Jericho, who was like, like being all into it, and Owens just like tagging along, just like, what is going on here? But just an awesome segment, and I think it was Dan's best segment of the year. But yes, the Festival of Friendship. Oh boy.
All right. So for number 3 on my list, it also involves Y2J, Chris Jericho, and this is undoubtedly one of the best debuts ever in professional wrestling histories. And it is, of course, when Jericho debuted in August of 1999, the famous countdown to the new millennium. It was awesome. The story, for those that may not know, is Chris Jericho was waiting to deliver mail in the post office, and he saw a clock hanging that said countdown to the new millennium. And he thought that'd be such a great way for a wrestler to make an entrance. And he then, of course, having left WCW and getting ready to go to WWF, he thought, hey, I'm going to use that. That's the perfect way for me to come through. So for weeks, the WWF was airing a countdown clock that said like 120 hours, some minutes until the new millennium arrived. And when it finally went down, it was in Chicago on August 4th or 9th. I'm not quite sure. But in August of 1989, The Rock was out in the ring calling out the Big Show. And then the countdown clock went, that famous stunt, stunt, stunt. Yeah. And then it hit 0. Red and green lights were flashing. It went black for like maybe 3-4 seconds. There was the pyro. And then you heard an early version of Jericho's Break Down the Walls theme. But when you saw the name Jericho appear on the screen, the crowd popped. He did his famous pose with his arms out. And from that moment, you knew Chris Jericho was going to be like, you knew it was something special.
It was.
And that was an awesome debut for Jericho. Still one of the best debuts ever in WWE history. And he went one-on-one with the great one on the mic. I mean, not a lot of people get that opportunity, and he did. And his promo was great, talking about how he came to save the WWF. He was the new millennium. He was the Ayatollah of rock and rolla. He was talking about he was going to make the fans raise their grubby little hands in the air and scream, "Go, Jericho, go." And he got the crowd to chant it. And he did the "You will never." No, well, the first time he had to slap himself because he was like, making this face, "Ever." But it was great.
Same again.
Yup. And then The Rock, of course, talking about Y2J, and he was going to introduce Y2J to the KY Jelly Plan, and he was going to take his boot, shine it up, and stick it straight up Jericho's ass. Yep. It was great. Even though Rock got the last laugh on the mic, that was one of the best debuts in WWF/E history. One of the best moments of Jericho's career. And the payoff was awesome with the countdown clock and his entrance and him wearing that funny little ponytail thing. Like, thank God he got rid of that, but still an iconic moment. And Jericho is still going strong all these years later.
Definitely having one of his best runs most recently. That or 2008 was definitely his best run.
He brought the list. He mixed it up with Omega. He mixed it up with Owens. Jericho still going strong all these years later. So this debut is a testament to the gift of Jericho.
Jericho.
Drink
it in, man.
And by the way, I have his Alpha Club shirt.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a small shirt, though, but it's a nice one.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So the top 2 on our list, Mike, what do you have coming in for number 2?
All right. My number 2, well, we already talked about this one. But like I said earlier about the Nexus, despite not seeing this one, when it first happened, I had to include this which of course is the pipe bomb. Because seeing that for the first time, it made me appreciate even more and realize more of like what CM Punk did to the business. Again, as you talked about before, Robbie, that realism approach. You know, at the time, you know, Punk's contract was close to running up. You didn't know if like, you know, if what he was saying was true or if it was, you know, just, you know, scripted or whatnot. But it was a perfect time for that to happen. And because like I said before, like, you know, Braun Strowman making the crowd love him by beating down the guy that people are like, you know, sick of seeing get all the opportunities. Now you have CM Punk literally just verbally, you know, abusing, like, you know, like the product, like the people who you want to, you wish you could say like all that stuff to as well, do the same thing, except you to invert it verbally. I mean, you talked about enough already, but that's my number 2, led to the Summer of Punk, and I have to mention it also, an honorable mention also, the promo later on, right before Night of Champions, when Punk said, "So you're really listening to the crowd tonight now, are you? Then where, oh where are my WWE ice cream bars?"
And it's just like that one night on NXT. I was watching the women's division, and while they were doing great things, it made me ask this question. Then where are my Ruby Riot ice cream bars? Yep, the pipe bomb. When you say the word pipe bomb, and you immediately associate it with CM Punk.
Oh, yes.
Yep,
pipe bomb.
Yeah. See, in the hands of anybody else, this is a microphone. But in my hands,
it's a pipe bomb.
Love it.
Actually, speaking of Punk, one more honorable mention also. I almost included this on my list, but I didn't want to have like too many like the same thing. The contract signing with him and Vince.
When they tried to renegotiate his contract, right?
Yes, live on Raw, like right before on the Go Home Show for Money in the Bank.
That's an honorable mention. That was so. I love the way that like Punk was pushing Vince's buttons, because that's when he brought up the ice cream for the first time. That's how it started. He's like, number one thing being, I want you to bring back the WWF ice cream bars. And then Vince has that look like, you son of a bitch. And everyone's chanting ice cream. And Punk's like, look at that. I just made you $1 million in ice cream sales.
Yeah.
I want cups, posters. I want my face on these turnbuckles. I want you to start making production on CM Punk the
movie.
It'll be called Chaperone 2, starring me, only it'll be funnier and much better.
And your buddy Dwayne.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. WrestleMania being the main event, you know, between John Cena and your boy Dwayne, you can have that match, but the main event will be the match I'm in. I love that.
Punk and Jericho.
That almost made my list, but that is a definite honorable mention.
Yes.
And I remember, he's coming out walking. He's coming out walking like Vince, and he's like, "Look at this! You're really gonna go through with it, aren't you?"
Yeah, he's holding like because he had like his end of the contract, also because Vince had his end, and the whole time Vince like, just please sign the contract so we can move on with our lives, pretty much. And like he's like so dumbfounded. Like when he's up on the ring, just on the stage announcing at the end of that, saying that, you know, he's definitely not gonna come back after he wins the title on Sunday. Like he's pretty much just like saying, say goodbye to John Cena, say goodbye to the title. And then Vince is standing there on the other, right by the ringside, still going like, you gonna sign it? You're gonna sign it? Like, you idiot, you realize he's not gonna sign it. He's gonna tear it up right in front of your face.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a strong honorable mention though.
Definitely. Yeah. We'll get to honorable mentions towards the end of the video. But coming in at number 2 for me is the most recent entry on this list. And to me, this is not only one of the best title changes in Monday Night Raw history, it is a moment that makes that really, this is the moment that made WrestleMania Monday, the night after WrestleMania, the Raw to see. And it is arguably one of the best, if not the best, Money in the Bank cash-in.
Ooh, I completely forgot. Dang it.
And it is Dolph Ziggler cashing in on Alberto Del Rio the night after WrestleMania 29.
I completely forgot about that one. Oh.
How could you forget, Mike? That is one of the best, you know, That is one of the best moments, my man, in Monday Night Raw history. You know, like, and I have a story to tell. I have a
Go for it.
story to tell about that match, and actually me being able to catch it. But I did want to say one thing, Mike.
Sure.
I did want to say this, and you know I got your back. You know I got your back. But you know what happens when you forget Dolph Ziggler's iconic Money in the Bank cash in?
No.
You know what happens, Mike?
No.
I'm sorry, Mike. Happy New Year, but
You just made the list.
No.
Were you doing Xavier Woods? No.
Yeah, I'm trying to do Xavier Woods.
Woods is laughing. Oh, Woods is laughing? Really, Woods?
Woods? Well, you know what? You're on the list. Because at the time it was, you're on the list. It's right when before Jericho actually had a design for the list. It was just this plain old brown clipboard that he just brought out.
Yeah.
Just that brown clipboard, what it would turn out to be. Just an actual replica that's sitting right on my desk, right to the right.
Yep.
But anyways,
right, so
story about the cash in.
Let me get to this. Yes. So when this Monday Night Raw went down, I was watching this and another show, and I was going back and forth between this show and the other show because the other show ran at the same time as Monday Night Raw. I put on Raw at the right moment because I see Alberto Del Rio finishing the match with Jack Swagger, and he's being checked. That was a handicap match, I remember. He's being checked on. And then I hear Dolph Ziggler's music hit, and that crowd pop. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, oh my God, is this it? What's going to happen? So I stayed on that channel. I stayed on Raw until I saw what happened. And just, there was so much doubt about whether or not Dolph Ziggler was going to get the title, if he was going to successfully cash in Money in the Bank, because he had established himself as one of the best young stars in that company, one of the best young performers. And there was just all this doubt about whether or not he would actually cash in Money in the Bank. And the night after WrestleMania 29, with a prone Alberto Del Rio in the ring suffering from an ankle injury, Ziggler runs in. He tells the ref to get out, or he tells the doctors to get out of the ring. He gives the briefcase to the ref, and the ref says Dolph Ziggler's cashing in. And that crowd, you heard them, they went crazy because they knew. They did. And what I like about this cash-in is the story that it told, because it wasn't just Del Rio attacking, or it wasn't just Ziggler attacking Del Rio and getting a win like that. They actually had like a 2-3 minute match, and Del Rio actually gave you the feeling that he may actually pull a rabbit out of his hat and beat Ziggler and stop the cash-in, because he got him with the arm breaker, with the cross arm breaker, but then Ziggler torqued back the ankle to break it. And then when Dolph hit the zigzag, that crowd counted as loud as they could. And when 3 hit, I marked out. The crowd blew the freaking roof off the arena, and Dolph Ziggler was the world heavyweight champion. That was the moment where you knew you had to catch Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, because anything could happen.
Oh, yes.
That was an incredible moment for Dolph. And I really like how they did like that 3-minute match, and it made you think maybe he's gonna lose. Maybe Del Rio's gonna pull another rabbit out of his hat.
Right.
It was amazing.
Yes.
It was, and it's a shame that Dolph's title reign came to an end due to the concussion. Yes. But he can't take that moment away from him.
Nope, not at all.
That was incredible. That is definitely one of the greatest moments in Monday Night Raw history. And like I said, I was going back and forth between that and another show. And if I had missed that moment, if I hadn't tuned in when I did, I would have missed it. And that's a moment I didn't want to miss live.
Oh, you definitely didn't.
Yeah. I can go back and watch it, and I still get goosebumps. But watching it the first time live was just incredible.
Oh, man. Wow, he really got lucky there.
He did.
Oh, yes.
He did. And the funny thing was they were actually cheering for Del Rio in the match with Swagger and Zeb Coulter. But when Ziggler came out, roles reversed.
Oh, yes. That led to a double turn pretty much.
Yep. At Payback.
You could not keep Ziggler a heel at that point because of how over he was.
Yep. Indeed.
Oh, yes.
And with that said, Mike, we've made it to the final entry on our list, number 1. So, my man, go ahead and let us know what your favorite Monday Night Raw moment is.
Oh, yeah. Very tough to pick number 1. Like, I could have gone with the pipe bomb. I could have gone with the contract signing, festival, friendship, the Nexus debut. Even though I didn't see it live, when it was announced that Shane McMahon bought WCW. Oh, another honorable mention. Dang, I forgot I'll leave for the ending, but I just have another honorable mention I completely forgot about. But I was tossed between 2 for my number 1.
Mm-hmm.
The honorable mention, I will wait till we do the honorable mentions, but my number 1 happened on this date. I want to see if you know what I'm talking about when I say this date.
All right.
March 10th, 2014.
March 10th, 2000. I think I know. Occupy Raw?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Occupy Raw. The whole story with Daniel Bryan's rise to the top, the game having all the odds stacked against him at WrestleMania. He was doing whatever he had to do to not only, get past Triple H and get his comeuppance on him, but to also get his truly deserved opportunity at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, and going as far as making the story as real as possible by, Jimmy was true. The crowd wanted Daniel Bryan in that spot because he deserves it, but the authority was doing everything they can to hold him back. And that's why, again, that feud was so successful. So just, if you would have gone through WrestleMania without culminating that feud, having him just fight Sheamus, you would have been nuts.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And that segment right there just capped it all off with him literally constantly, just bringing, the crowd's real, desires to have him in that main event, to literally bring them into the ring and pack it all up, taking over the show for a good 10-15 minutes, and having Triple H and Stephanie coming out there just trying to get everybody out of there. I think they had as far as having Damian Sandow come out for the next match, but he couldn't get through there, and the security is like, we can't get all these guys out of there. And just to finally Triple H, just having enough of this thing, you want to fight in WrestleMania? Fine, you got it, but be careful what you wish for. And then Daniel Bryan added a stipulation of if he wins, he gets added into the main event of Mania. And I was like, you know what? Fine, get your match, whatever. Just take it all. He's getting dragged away. But man, just I could not have thought of anything more better, pretty much, to put it as my number 1, because that was just, again, as real as it can get. Literally, the crowd, to do just, do what they speak in their mind of what they want. The whole story, Bryan, winning the title off of Cena for Triple H to, turn on him and have Orton take the title off of him. To the thing with stuff with Bray Wyatt, the authorities do everything they can to keep Bryan away from that championship, even though they knew he could easily win it. And just to him, just pulling out all the stops, doing whatever he had to do to get back to the top, and he did it.
Yep, indeed. That was another moment you had to see to believe, that just felt so real,
Yes.
And I love when they sent out the security and Daniel Bryan trolled them. Do you remember that, Mike? He's like,
yes.
Oh, here they come. 2 of them, just 2 of them.
And there's how many of them in the ring?
Yeah,
all wearing the Daniel Bryan shirts. Oh man, the crowd was just on fire.
That crowd indeed was on fire. I love Daniel Bryan trolling the security like that. What the hell, 2 measly guys?
Oh, yes.
I will say one thing. I'm really liking what Daniel Bryan's doing, getting these ideas for the Rumble matches off of what the superstars proposing to him inadvertently.
Yes.
You see the way he had that look on his eyes when Chad Gable was like, what are we supposed to do? Beat him twice in one night?
He's like, you're a genius, Chad. That's why I like you.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that match. That's going to be awesome. That 2 out of 3
awesome.
falls.
Yes. I don't know if Road Dogg's writing this stuff, but so far there's been some good things on SmackDown. Even if there's solid shows, there's some things I'm interested in. This whole Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon thing for a while has been some really good stuff to watch.
Definitely.
What if Daniel Bryan becomes like a Vince McMahon?
Oh, jeez.
No, that'd be a great storyline though, dude.
It would be, yeah, but I didn't even think of it outside the box that far. But yeah, that would be interesting. Yes.
What if he becomes like the Vince McMahon of SmackDown Live?
Kind of walk in with the strut.
Well, no, but like, what if he just becomes egomaniacal and like tries to make everyone's life hell? Well, I mean, like, imagine it, dude. If he's making these kind of crazy matches, 2 out of 3 falls, and a handicap match for the WWE Championship, imagine him with like full power and no Shane McMahon, like he's freaking Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm for it.
Say it, Mike.
Once again, guys, hashtag please sign Robbie.
Yes, please. I gotta get
endorse him. I will endorse him how many times on this. Definitely deserved. Comes up with very good ideas. Especially my favorite is still that idea you had about Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor.
Yeah. Well, they can't do that now. But
instead of Bray Wyatt and Dragon Pumpkin Demon.
Yeah. But the Woken Wyatt family or the Woken family would be great.
Yes, it would be. I'd like that.
Yeah. And I even had a crazier idea. What if they want to add a woman? Not a Sister Abigail, but what if they want to add a woman and it's Bailey, like a goth chick or an emo chick?
Whoa. I mean, it would be I keep saying, people talk about the ideas of Bailey turning heel, but I can't think of like a good idea. Bailey is a heel, but making her a goth chick. Yeah, I actually do like that. Let's go with that. Yes.
I gotta make an online petition or something and get that sent. Get you guys to sign it and send it to WWE. I really want to do this. See what I just came up with?
Yes.
You think they're gonna do that really with Bailey? No, unless I'm the one that pitches it.
Right.
Yeah.
We're just normal fans who just don't really know anything.
Right. And I'm just gonna say this. Her and Elias, they're such a random team.
They are, yeah. Well, it was supposed to be Joe until he suffered that foot injury. Like how would have that gone down? Like
that would have been a better team though, because it's 2 polar opposites. You got a hugger,
true, and yeah,
a beloved women's wrestler, and then you got a destroyer.
He's not going to be hugging Bailey anytime soon.
He might do his hand gesture, but he ain't gonna hug her.
Oh no.
Yeah, that would have been a cool team though.
Just don't put her in the coquina clutch.
Oh no! Oh my God! You know what? If Bailey was the women's champion, let's just say she was the women's champion right now, and Joe was her partner, and then she was feuding like, I don't know, a heel Sasha Banks, and Joe put her in the coquina clutch. Oh my God! Oh my God. He would. And Sasha reveals Joe was like her little enforcer all along.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if WWE would go that far, but that would be like insane and totally unpredictable.
Jeez.
Sasha using Joe to get to Bailey.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that could have been a major WrestleMania match.
Jeez, Joe putting Paul Heyman in the coquina clutch was freaking awesome last year, but Joe putting Bailey in the coquina clutch, gives me chills now just thinking about it.
That would be scary. Like
it would be, yes.
That would be really cool, only because it's something totally unexpected. Hey, yeah, it's TV PG, but let's spice it up a little bit. Like, if Sasha Banks was to do that just to get to Bailey's title, what a bitch, you know?
Exactly.
Yes. Oh my God, I gotta get to WWE and book for him somehow.
Yes, please.
I don't know if they would do that because, of course, you don't want to promote. Roman speared freaking Stephanie at Mania, so
right, yeah.
It's not like Joe putting her in the coquina clutch is one thing. It's not like if Joe's physically slapping her around, like
right, yeah.
That's a little over the, like WWE won't do that because it's PG. That's over the top. That's crossing the boundary. But her put Bailey in the coquina clutch at Sasha's bidding, that's something insane.
Ooh.
Just imagine what the reaction would be.
Oh, yeah.
I think the crowd would have so much sympathy for Bailey. I think the crowd would just be dead silent, stunned silent.
They would be, yeah, when you do it at the right time.
Yeah.
Whew.
Oh my God. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this list up, guys, with my number one pick. And like Mike said, so many great moments in Monday Night Raw history. Any of these could be number one on our list. There were quite a few that I didn't put on this list, but they will be honorable mentions. But this, to me, is my favorite moment in Monday Night Raw history. From 1998, summer of 1998, this was when the Nation of Domination and Degeneration X were in the midst of their great feud. And this was when DX showed their comedic side when they impersonated the Nation.
Oh, boy. I've seen Triple H impersonate Vince, but I don't know if I've ever seen them impersonate the Nation of Domination.
This was priceless. So basically, in the midst of the feud between the Nation of Domination and DX, DX had some big announcement they were going to make on this episode of Raw, and a lot of people were buzzing about what it was going to be. So the Nation of Domination's music hits, and they think the Nation's coming out to interrupt the DX, but out come DX dressed as the members of the Nation. You had Triple H in a short wig with a big eyebrow painting on his forehead as The Rock. X-Pac in a fat suit painted his face black as Mark Henry, or Mizark Henry as it said on his shirt. Road Dogg as not D-Lo but B-Lo Brown, walking around with a chest protector and everything. The Billy Gunn as the Godfather, and he kind of painted his face black a little bit. He like got himself tan. And China as China. But oh no, and I forgot the guy that really stole the whole show in this thing, Jason Sensation as Owen Hart, because Owen Hart was in the Nation at that time. And this was priceless. You had The Rock, who called himself, you had Triple H as the Croc. He comes out and he's like, yo, the Croc just came from the bathroom and, well, you should have smelled what The Rock was cooking. And then he's like, I ain't faking. You should have smelled what The Rock was baking. And Road Dogg as Beal's like, brother was baking, running up doing D'Lo Brown's pose on the turnbuckle. It's like, it was freaking priceless, man. That was classic DX in their glory days, and that was classic Attitude Era stuff. And like I said, Jason Sensation as Owen Hart with this giant prosthetic nose and a caution sign all over his singlet, because that was what Owen Hart was wearing, something similar. He did this uncanny Owen Hart impersonation, talking about he tried to grow a damn beard, but he couldn't, trying to be a tough guy. He's a black heart, a soul survivor. And then this is my favorite freaking line from Jason Sensation. Just check this out.
And if anybody smells what The Rock is cooking, it's me. Look how big my damn nose is. What the hell am I? An aardvark? What does the brother look like? An aardvark? Look at Milo.
Oh, God.
And then Triple H is talking about how he lays the smack down on himself, and Road Dogg's like, the brother smacks himself down. You have to see it, Mike. It's a classic moment in Monday Night Raw history. It is priceless. Like, I love that moment. That's what the Attitude Era in 1998 was like growing up. That's what pro wrestling was all about. Great stuff like that. I mean, DX doing things like that, pissing off the Nation of Domination. Like JR was saying, like, The Rock's probably broken all the furniture in his house, and Owen Hart's breaking stuff in Canada. It was great.
Oh, man. Oh, man, good stuff. I'm glad that, like, we each had, like, lists that share, like, different generations as well we could talk about as well. We only had, like, one repeat, but, yeah, I definitely like how we just were able to, spread out, like, different times to talk about different things just to, relive these memories, and definitely, invest in other stuff I haven't seen yet so far.
Definitely. So we're going to end this, guys, with some honorable mentions. I'm going to go first because, like I said, there were so many great moments and so many favorite moments in my Monday Night Raw history that, we could have probably done a top 25 list, but I mean, like, these are our top 10 favorite moments, but these are honorable mentions are definitely worth mentioning. CM Punk's contract negotiation in 2011, that was great.
Yes.
DX impersonating the McMahons in 2006 and dumping that container of shit on them and the Spirit Squad. That's pretty gross, but still was funny to watch. You know, so many great moments. The Occupy Raw moment, like you mentioned, Daniel. As sad as this moment was, it was a beautiful send-off from Daniel Bryan, his retirement.
Yes.
That's still the most emotional part of the WWE 24 Thank You Daniel segment. Like when they get to that part in the documentary, that's the most emotional part of that whole thing.
Definitely. It gets me every time.
Yeah, definitely. One of my most recent favorite moments, the AJ Styles John Cena confrontation.
Yes, that one too. Yes.
The crowd just going, "Let's go Cena, AJ Styles," like, and the unexpected turn that AJ.
I was not expecting the turn. Like I was thinking, like I was at first when they came out with what recently happened, I thought maybe AJ and Cena will team up to take out the club. And then when he slugged Cena in the face, I'm just like, you're kidding me. Like really? Like I couldn't believe they were really going that route. That was probably the only, I remember it was like the only good thing about that Raw that Raw sucked, I remember. But I remember like AJ and Gallows and Anderson leaving, but AJ kept like running back to beat up Cena more. It just cracked me up. I'm like, he's not had enough of him at all.
It wasn't just one beatdown. He kept going back and beating down John Cena. And that, of course, that coined one famous catchphrase, Mike. Say it with me. Beat up
John Cena.
And another one of my favorite moments was when they first coined it, the whole beat up John Cena, because they were talking about all these different holidays, and you know, Anderson was talking about Christmas and like, I'm gonna wrap some presents for my kids with my hot Asian wife.
Then they just mentioned like last week on Raw, like Anderson just mentioned something about his hot Asian wife also when he was had that backstage segment with him, Gallows, and Balor. I forgot what they were talking about, but I remember saying something about his hot Asian wife. So maybe were they making references to that again? I don't know, but
well, he's always referred to his wife as his hot Asian wife because his wife is really pretty, dude. Even
nice.
Becky Lynch can confirm that.
Ooh, nice.
But a few other favorite moments, because I can't think of all of them off the top of my head, but a few other favorite moments. Any Stone Cold moment with a vehicle, whether he flattened the Rock's Lincoln Continental, or him, you know, coming in with the Zamboni and going after Vince, or him on his AV in 2004, Stone Cold throwing the Intercontinental Championship into the river, Rock doing that fake funeral for Stone Cold when he knocked Stone Cold into the river, trying to get the Smoking Skull belt back in Austin. That was the same night that Austin ran over the Lincoln Continental. So Stone Cold's had a ton of classic moments on Monday Night Raw. Kurt Angle with the milk truck.
I wasn't sure if that was on Raw or SmackDown. That's why I didn't put that on my list.
Yeah, that was Raw. That was the night after SummerSlam 2001. That moment was great. Shawn Michaels super kicking Hulk Hogan and turning heel. That was great.
Ooh, yes.
The promo Shawn cut as a heel in Montreal, where he made the fans think Bret Hart was coming out because the music played, but he didn't come out and he just trolled them. That was priceless. And then he sang "Oh Canada" and he's like, me. Oh Canada, how I hate this place, because they still didn't forgive him for Montreal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Vince taking the stunner, of course, for the first time. Austin and Tyson. Shawn Michaels revealing that Tyson was a DX mole all along. Rock impersonating all 5 of his opponents at Armageddon in the Hell in a Cell, which included calling Rikishi a thong-wearing fatty.
I did it for the Doc.
Yeah,
I did it
for the people.
I did it. Oh, shut up, you thong-wearing fatty.
Yeah.
One of my other favorites of I don't know if this was on Raw or SmackDown either, but that one promo he cut where he's like, "Oh dear God, you see, my name is Billy, and I just won King of the Ring. But the problem is that everyone still thinks that I absolutely suck."
I think that was Sunday Night Heat, actually.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but that's still one of my favorite moments in wrestling. Dear God, my name's Billy, and I have a problem. I just want King.
Everybody
suck. Bob, but my
name's Billy. It doesn't matter what your name is.
You will go to the learning tree. You will find the great one. You know what was another great moment? Cody Rhodes and Goldust winning the tag team titles from the Shield.
Yes. One of the first Raws I remember watching. I remember that match. That was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
The week because Raw was in Pittsburgh the week before, and I went to that also.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was night after Battleground.
What about you, Mike? What are some honorable mentions for favorite Raw moments?
Well, one definitely that I remember I was gonna put on my list, but I completely forgot about was Shane McMahon's return in 2016.
Oh yeah.
The Vincent J. McMahon Award of Excellence. And when Stephanie came out, I'm just like, okay, where are we trolling here? And then when the music hit again, I didn't recognize Shane's music first. When I saw it said Shane O'Mac, I'm like, I'm seeing things. What are they really bringing back Shane? Like, what's he doing here? And when he came out, I'm just like, dang, he really is here. Like, whatnot. That was a huge surprise. Even though his feud with Taker was just weird because I didn't understand, like, why was Shane fighting Taker for his spot on Raw, even though, Vince pretty much just put Taker's career on the line, which somewhat covered it up for, but he ended up still being in charge the night afterwards. I don't know if it's because of him saying, like, oh, yeah, Shane, you showed the heart in the match, whatnot. Or I thought I read somewhere, I'm not sure if this is true, but Shane, because of Shane's fall, the way he fell down, he wasn't really able to finish the match. I heard that they changed their mind and just had Taker win the match in the end, but I'm not sure if that's true or not. It might have been a rumor, but yeah, that was definitely another good unexpected return. Daniel Bryan's retirement. Actually, I was just listening to the Talk Is Jericho podcast today, but another kind of a little bit of an entertaining moment also was when Dean Ambrose ripped up Jericho's jacket on Raw in 2016. We had that. Speaking of retirements, got to also mention when Edge first came out and announced his retirement. Or was that on SmackDown? I can't remember.
No, that was Raw because they were hyping it up as like he had this big career changing announcement, and then he dropped the bombshell he was retiring. So that was crazy.
Yeah, there was that. Geez, what else happened on Raw that I can try to remember off the top of my head?
Another one of my favorites was Vicky Guerrero fighting doing that mud match. Remember where she was trying to it was her last night in the WWE.
Oh yes. One of the only nights I probably actually cheered for Vicky because I popped big time when she threw Stephanie into that ugly shit pile, whatever the heck you want to call it.
Yeah, that was a cool moment because if she was gonna go out, at least she went out like that, Guerrero style. That was really cool.
Yes. Gosh, what else is there, man? Well, I mean, it was a heel turn, but you could also maybe bring up also the night Seth Rollins turned on the Shield. That was a big moment.
It was sad to see the Shield come to an end, but how he did it with the chair and how he's just looking down at Roman and Dean Ambrose is looking at him like, what?
Like, what'd you do?
Yeah.
Actually, let me ask you this question, Rob, because I do not know why, but I was not expecting it to be Seth to be the one that turned on the Shield. Were you expecting Seth, or were you expecting it to be one of the others?
I wasn't expecting Seth to turn. I didn't even really expect the Shield to break up that night. But if it was going to be anybody, I think a lot of people expected Roman because just he has that look and everything.
Right, yeah. But I could have somewhat seen Dean also because of them bringing out his more heel lunatic character could have done the same thing as well. But I don't know why Seth was the last one I was expecting, because when I saw him wind up in a chair shot, I'm like, oh, why he swings so early? And all of a sudden he hit Rowan. I'm like, wait, what did he just do?
Yeah. You mentioned this earlier. It was an honorable mention of yours. Brock Lesnar's post WrestleMania 31 Rampage.
Yes.
Oh my God. He killed pretty much everybody in that. Remember, he jumped over. I think he almost jumped over the barricade, or he grabbed Seth by the waist, trying to suplex him when he's trying to barricade. Yeah,
he even attacked the cameraman also.
Yeah,
because I remember that was the first year that we did do a year in review awards. That's when Dan first started doing his YouTube stuff. I remember that because my best segment was the Brock and Taker brawl, but his was was that segment on the night after WrestleMania 31. What's else? There was one I just thought of. Oh, I mean, I know this is more so just a match, but I don't know. It happened on the Raw in March of 2016 before I went to the one right before WrestleMania 32. I just remember just appreciating this match. I got to see Triple H actually wrestle live. But do you remember the match with him and Dolph?
Yeah.
That as well. I think that was probably one of Dolph's best matches, I should say. And I felt it was like overdue too. The stuff that would happen with Team Cena and Team Authority at Survivor Series, like in 2014. I felt that was overdue. It happened.
For sure.
And despite the feud like not going well at all, I actually didn't mind that like the beatdown that him and Reigns had that night also. Like I thought that was like it was a sick ass looking feud not feud but beatdown as well.
Yeah.
But, of course the feud sucked, but just seeing that feud live I keep saying feud. That beatdown live was pretty cool as well. Gosh, what else have I seen? Really,
I love Triple H's beatdown of Roman Reigns with the blood capsule.
Yes,
that was really cool. That's why Triple H is a savage and a badass. That was great.
Oh, definitely that. Speaking of, because of another beatdown with Triple H, now I will mention the go home, the final segment in the go home episode before WrestleMania 30, where they're having the match between Orton and Batista. And like they have the Authority at the side on commentary, pretty much just like raving how like this is the match they want to see, like and Triple H is like telling like Orton like, hey, show me the Viper, Batista like, hey, show me the animal and whatnot. Like this is exactly what I want to see like in my main event. And then Daniel Bryan, who had been beaten down by the Authority in handcuffs like 2 weeks earlier, came out of nowhere and starts beating down Triple H and takes out both Orton and Batista, and then he just starts attacking him with that kendo stick and whatnot. That was probably, to me so far, my favorite ending to a go-home show of Raw before WrestleMania. Because other than that, we've seen some. I mean, let me see here. This year's was all right. 2016's, I didn't really like it. That was overdone. And then 2015's, the tug of war for the championship, that was terrible also. But that was probably so far my favorite go-home segment before WrestleMania.
I was gonna mention the beatdown of Daniel Bryan by Triple H and those cops. I love how Triple H is like, come on, let's keep it real. Let's be honest. You guys aren't even real cops.
Oh, I've been looking forward to doing this all night. And he just does that beatdown, and Bryan's like, you hit like a girl, Stephanie.
Yeah. You hit like a girl. Yeah. You know what? Even though this was a short backstage segment, I like when Triple H, acting like a dick, said goodbye to Mick Foley. Remember?
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Or speaking of also another honorable mention, I just thought of that, I could say I really enjoyed was last year whenever Triple H finally spoke out about why he turned on Seth Rollins, and then which led to the debut of Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
And again, like Rollins knee injury, again, it was just the injury of course sucked, but it just added even more perfect time, just like what was playing into the story, because literally Triple H says, come meet your destroyer, and Joe did literally destroy Rollins.
Yeah. 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 I mean, so many great, we're talking about current moments in Raw history.
Or while you're thinking, also from that July 25th episode in Pittsburgh that I was home watching, when Finn Balor got his like rocket ship pushed to the top, and
that was great.
Roman.
I was concerned, were they going to feed him to Roman right away, or were they going to actually put him in the main event, or the top picture at least?
Oh, dude, when he beat Roman clean, I literally got up and did a victory lap around the whole first floor of my house. Like, literally got up, Bo Dallas style, went through my dining room, went through the kitchen, went right back through the main hallway, back into my living room. Yeah. I went nuts. Like, because I'm like, you really are gonna give this guy a shot. Now, unfortunately, look where he is, but still at the time, I was pumped. Like, I was just so wishing I could have gone that night.
You know what? At least they're doing something with the club, and hopefully it leads to them becoming dominant and whatnot, like them winning most of the titles. At least they're doing that. They beat 2/3 of the Shield and Jason Jordan.
Yes, they did. They did that. I mean, I know like a few months ago, I would say like, I wouldn't be able to take them seriously because of how badly they've been booked. But now that it's happening, it's like it's catching my attention already. But like they haven't really done too much with it yet. But
no, but because it just started. So I mean,
right,
like,
yeah. But it's for some reason I'm not like, oh yeah, we're going to do this, but it's probably not going to be that good. But it's like, okay, let's see where this goes. But yes, I definitely interested.
If they're all on Raw. When Ambrose returns, Shield versus the Balor Club, the real Shield, not the Shield with Jason Jordan as the substitute.
Believe that.
Yeah. No, that's why we put Jason Jordan on the list.
Oh yes, because of his terrible promos.
Yeah. You know what? From a few years ago, Bray Wyatt with the children's chorus.
Oh, in the feud with Cena, he should have won that feud.
He should have, but that segment was great with all the little kids in the choir singing, and then the sheep. When the lights go out, they're wearing the sheep mask, and Cena's just like, he's terrified, he's horrified at that whole thing, man. Like that was great.
Yes,
because when it happened, when the Wyatt family's music hit, I was like, oh shit, here come the Wyatt. It's like, okay, what's gonna go down? And then you hear that little kid sing. He's got the whole world in his
hands. He's got the whole.
What the hell is this?
Right.
Eerie, dude. Like that was why it was great. That was why Bray Wyatt was great.
Exactly.
Eerie stuff like that. Like that was great. And then Paul Heyman's WrestleMania 30 post WrestleMania 30 promo where he talked about Brock being the 1 in 21-1, and then he burned Hulk Hogan, where he's like,
yes,
Superdome, Hogan, not Silverdome.
Oh man.
Oh, Paul Heyman promoting Brock and Cena when Brock was revealed as the challenger.
Oh yes,
that was great. That's when he was talking about like, I pledge allegiance to the conqueror.
The 11th commandment, thou shalt not provoke Brock Lesnar, wherever the heck it was.
Yeah.
Oh, another one, because if you look on my Twitter, the cover photo, that segment where the night Dean Ambrose stole Seth Rollins' Money in the Bank briefcase,
right.
And they go chasing around, and then he's like, okay, you know what? I'm cool. Take your briefcase, go ahead. And Rollins opens up and it squirts that green goo into his face. The green slime. And you just look out and then you see Ambrose with that look on his face. That's my cover photo. Like that, no joke. That is literally the thumbnail for Dean Ambrose's theme music in my phone. Because that's just Dean Ambrose in a nutshell right there. He's like, oh, okay, that's cool. I didn't do it, but oh well, whatever.
Yeah.
But
I loved their feud in 2014. Remember Ambrose with the hot dog cart?
Yes, he was throwing all that ketchup and mustard on Orton, Kane, and was Rollins there too? I think he was. Yeah. Because it was supposed to be a 3-on-2 handicap match, but Ambrose walked out saying, "I'm kind of hungry. Hey, I'm gonna go swing by Coney Island and get a sandwich. I'll see you later." And show him getting on like the subway in New York, taking it to Coney Island and whatnot.
Yeah. A very recent moment. John Cena and Roman Reigns, that verbal spar they had.
Yes,
that was great. The Nexus, like you mentioned in your list, that's definitely an honorable mention for me because that was quite an impactful debut that they made. Brock Lesnar returning in 2012, the night after WrestleMania 28.
That too.
Brock and Cena making their once in a lifetime, which became twice in a lifetime, when they made that match official a year ahead of WrestleMania 28.
And to build that all up.
Yep.
Oh man.
I'm
trying to think of what else there is.
CM Punk dressing up as a druid impersonating Paul Bearer.
Oh yes, leading up to the WrestleMania 29 match.
The stuff Punk was doing against Taker was some great moments. Like remember him throwing the urn around and he dropped it. He's like, oh shit.
He's like, I don't really give a damn about this or whatever the heck it was. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Hey, Taker, Paul wants you to know that if you get counted out or disqualified, it's still a loss.
Paul was such a dick as a heel, man. That's why he's great.
Well, speaking of which, remember Jericho a year earlier making Punk take that sobriety test?
I just thought about that. Yeah, the sobriety test.
That dude, your father was an alcoholic. Alcoholic runs in your blood, Punk. And your sister, well, she's got substance abuse as well. Your birth date took place before your parents' wedding date. So that makes you the true definition
of a bastard. Yeah. Their feud in 2012 was great. Like Jericho was just, he had no limits to the shit he did. Remember him smashing the bottle over Punk's head?
Yes. I wasn't saying drink it in, man.
That was before he came up with that, yeah. But that was great. Oh my god. I'm trying to think of like Punk. Well, you know what? Punk and Cena signing the contract for the SummerSlam match in 2011. That was great because he was roasting Johnny Laurinaitis. It's like, so let me ask you something, John Funk Man. Did you personally fire Vladimir Kozlov this weekend? Did you call Harry Smith? Yes, his name is Harry, not David Hart Smith. Did you personally call him and say he's no longer needed?
Oh, man.
So, and of course, you mentioned this earlier, Mike, this was a great moment. CM Punk, Triple H in the middle of the ring, and Punk asked, so you're listening to the audience today, right? Just today. Is that what we're doing? Then where are my
WWE ice cream bars? Oh man!
How about the Rock and Punk the night before the go home show to the Rumble, or one of the shows before the Rumble? They had their little face-to-face confrontation where Punk was like, "Your arms are too small to box with God."
Yeah, I've seen that one like maybe like once or twice. Got to see it again. I know their promos lead up was definitely pretty good.
Yeah.
You
know what was another great moment that is an honorable mention? Mr. McMahon versus CM Punk. Remember that street fight they had, 2012?
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
That was the night that Punk elbowed a fan, remember?
Yes, because in the crowd they kept touching him. He's like, "Get off me!"
Yeah.
Also, speaking of which, since it probably took place like shortly after well, maybe even before Punk defended the championship, but it was whenever Vince McMahon was trying to prove to Paul Heyman that he had paid the Shield to help him out when Paul kept denying that wasn't him in that video that you showed. And then he's about to fire Paul Heyman, but Brock comes out,
yeah,
and he attacks Mr. McMahon before I think. That's what Triple H came out to make the save to continue their feud going from the previous summer.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. And Vince even said, like, don't do something that you'll regret. And then boom, Brock just picks him up. And Paul Heyman's freaking out like, no, oh my God, no. What did you do?
What have you done?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think we're going to end it there. So that'll do it, guys, for our top 10 favorite moments in Monday Night Raw history. Of course, I'd like to thank Mike for joining me in counting down these top 10 moments. And Mike, of course, you can always get that plug for your channel.
Yes, thank you, Robbie. It's always a blast doing this as well. It's talking about all these great memories of Raw. Again, despite in recent years, Raw not having some pretty big stinkers, but we've still had some pretty enjoyable moments that we talk about, we enjoy, we just laugh our heads off about. But yes, as always, you can find me here on YouTube at the Club of the Man 1993, where I just talk wrestling and play video games, do whatever the hell I want to do. And then you can also follow me on Twitter, where I tweet about during wrestling events, and just not and then here and there. But you can find me there at the Man Air 93 here on YouTube at the Club of the Man 1993. And also, as always, make sure you check out Robbie's channel as well. And if you like his ideas, please continue to use the hashtag the Please Sign Robbie, as Robbie would love to be a writer for WWE.
Yep. Thank you for that, Mike. Always great to have you on here. And yes, just a few other things I'll mention, if these are even considered honorable mentions. Bailey's scripted poem, Bailey, This Is Your Life, which I will never watch.
The old day.
Yeah, all day. Oh God, that was horrible. That was
Oh.
horrible. Those are dishonorable mentions right there.
Oh.
Bailey getting booed after she got legit injured. That was horrible. That was bad.
Oh, the segment wherever Brock Lesnar was trying to get Brock Lesnar to get booed in his hometown right before his match against Goldberg at Survivor Series.
That was not gonna happen.
That
in
was
Brock's hometown. Are you kidding me? Are you smoking crack?
That was awful. Professor Tater Tot from 2015. I don't know if you remember that one.
Your Irish tater tots. God, that was awful.
I thought Irishmen
about some awful moments.
I thought Irishmen had potatoes. It looks like you're just snuggling some tater tots. And I got to mention this one real quick, just for the heck of it. But look at you. You're just so full of yourself now, man. Actually, you're full of something else. You are a sniveling little fool of suffer and succotash, son. Yeah, I know. That's not even easy to say.
That was on SmackDown actually, but that was still bad.
Oh crap, my bad.
Not good. Oh no, but you know what was from Roman on Raw that was bad? There were the Giants.
Oh
yeah,
that feud, the overdone Roman Reigns and Big Show feud. Oh,
Jack and the Beanstalk.
Now, I will give it to them. I did somewhat enjoy their match at Extreme Rules, but other than that, everything else in that feud was just trash.
Yeah. I'm going to kick this giant straight in the mouth. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. The giant's teeth are down his throat.
Oh.
Yeah. But, of course, guys, thank you all for watching and listening. Of course, I'm Robbie1 Kenobi. You can find me here on my channel and my YouTube channel, on my Twitter account, of course, which is also spelled the same way it is on here, Robbie1 Kenobi. And if you do like my ideas, tweet these videos, tweet any of my fantasy booking videos to WWE with the hashtag #PleaseSignRobbie, because I really want to go to WWE. I mean, if I'm able to take Bailey, who's loved, you can never really see her as a heel, and then I say she joins the Woken family as a goth chick or an emo chick, if I can do that and interest Mike in a heel Bailey, you know I'm doing something right.
Yes, please. Make a video about that or something to get that idea out there.
Actually, definitely. I will. I'll make a video about that this week.
Good.
So thank you guys for watching and listening. Mike and I are about to sign off. Everybody have a nice weekend. In the comment section below, tell us what your top 10 favorite Monday Night Raw moments are, or feel free to make a video response. We always love those. We'll definitely make sure to check those out. And yeah, until then, guys, thanks for watching and listening. This is Robbie1 Kenobi and the Club of the Man 1993 signing out. Everybody have a good night, and we'll talk to y'all guys. We'll catch you guys later. Excuse me. Peace.
Peace.